Oh, okay, so you're just gonna tell me that you fixed a historically laggy game and improved the controls and improved the button timings and improved the sound effects, all because you felt like it? That's sick. Mars Matrix is a game that I champion on this channel. I genuinely believe that it is a high quality shoot 'em up that everybody should play at least once in their lives. Everything about this game, down to the smallest detail, in my opinion, is the closest to shmup perfection that there is, with very few exceptions among other shoot 'em ups as well. And the reason why I say this is because this game does everything right. From its visuals to its soundtrack to its gameplay and scoring, everything about this game exudes quality. And to have a new version of this game come out by a dedicated ROM hacker was absolutely something that was not on my 2025 bingo card. But oh my god, am I happy that it happened. So let's just go through and run down some of the stuff that has been fixed or that has been improved in this version, in this ROM hack, if I may. And the biggest one right out of the gate is the input lag timing. Now, I have an interview with trap15, the ROM hacker and the developer, quote unquote, if you want to say, that worked on this ROM hack that I'm going to be doing later on the video, and one of the things that he was talking about was the fact that he just switched up a couple of things in order to improve the input lag down to, I believe, 2 to 3 frames. I don't remember off the top of my head. I just finished the interview with him right now, actually, so it's like all this information is just all over my head, but I believe that is what the input lag is at, which is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really glad that the input lag has been decreased. I'm really glad that you even can decrease it in the first place. So that's a really big one, especially if you're somebody, especially if you're playing this game where you have to do tight dodges and there's bullets coming at you from all sides and there's absolute chaos and mayhem going on. You need consistently high quality, low input lag in order to do well in this game. So I'm really glad that that has been improved to a point where I can say this is very much competitively viable if you are going for the high scores, which I think everybody should, by the way. Everybody should try scoring high in this game. So that's the first thing that this hack improves. The second thing that this hack improves is that it splits out the 3 actions in this game because they're all in one button. It splits that one button out into essentially 2 extra buttons, because if you don't know, Mars Matrix is a 1-button game. You have to repeatedly mash the same button to get your normal shot, and then you have to tap a quarter of a second in order to get your shrapnel shot, and then you have to press and hold that same button in order to get your vacuum, your black hole gravity hole bomb, if you hold and press and hold that button for long enough. So for him to go in the code and to split that out into 3 separate buttons is something that's really important, because as it stands before this hack, if you wanted to play with the 3 buttons out, it was not only very complicated, but it did not work nearly as well as the Dreamcast version. For example, if I wanted to do my auto shot, my normal shot, regular shot, if I want to go from regular shot to my gravity hole bomb, or aka the vacuum, I'd have to wait like a second or two for the auto shot to continue its cycle and then go for my gravity hole bomb. And in a game where bullets are coming at you and on all different angles and shapes and sizes and stuff, you have to be able to switch out like that in an instant in order to do well in this game. So for him to get the feeling down, to get the idea down, and to get it working well, that you can switch from any shot type to another shot type, and it works consistently, and it works fast, and it works well, is something that is incredibly important in this game. So I'm really glad that he was able to go out there and do that. And another fix that I actually learned and I wasn't too aware of before this interview was that the sound effects have been decreased. So if you want to listen to the audio, the sick ass audio, if I may, and play the game like with louder music and lowered sound effects, you can do that by, I believe it's by pressing A and start before you go into the game. I could be wrong on that. The interview has all of that there. And that's something that's really nice. I haven't tested it out myself, but I will admit that that is something really nice because even though I'm okay with the sound effects, some people might want to listen to the music, like Trap himself, as he says. So that's really sick. And I'm really glad that he was able to make sure that you can go back to the original sound design if you want to. Overall, this hack, from the couple of hours I have had the opportunity to play it, has been a dream. It plays good, it sounds good. Everything is, from what I can tell, it's the original version, just with the other stuff included. And what's great about this ROM hack is that it works on the US version and the Japanese version. So if you play the Japanese version of the game, you can use this hack on that. If you play the US version of this game, you can play the hack on that, which is really nice. And just for me, personally speaking, anecdotally speaking, I can now finally get my first extend, get the 100k experience points needed to get my first extend, the first life in stage one. I don't have to wait till like stage two or like, in the middle of stage two in order to get my extend. Now I can actually go after gold cubes and I can actually go after enemies and go after bosses in a way that I just couldn't before. The closest feeling I had to this was playing the Dreamcast version, but the Dreamcast version's input lag isn't nearly as good as the input lag here. So for Trap to come out, and also other people, I'm pretty sure there are other people involved in this ROM hack. I will credit them in the video below if I can find out that information. For them to go out there and to do such a great job with this, and to even do a ROM hack for this incredibly awesome game in the first place, in my opinion, is just really sick. So without further ado, let's check out the interview. Hey, what's going on? So, can you give us your name and basically like what's your role in the shmup community?
Uh, I'm uh, I'm Alex. I go by trap15 online. Uh, I've been playing shooting games for ever basically, but um, I got on the Shmups forum back in oh my God, how long ago was that? 15 years ago at least.
Oh my god.
So I've been around for quite a bit. Um, but I play a lot of games. I'm a embedded programmer by trade, so I, know a lot of low-level programming stuff, and so I also do a bunch of like investigation into how the games work and all that. And my
Oh,
job is ostensibly to do that as well. So it's I have a lot of touch a lot of games all the time.
that's sick. Wow, I had no idea. So you also what is it? Go into the code of other stuff too. That's really sick.
Yeah, yeah. You learn a lot by looking at how other people do stuff. So even aside from just like, oh, I want to figure out how this thing works, you can get a lot of ideas on how to be a better programmer yourself by looking at what they were doing back then.
So you would say that you were really inspired. This stuff inspires you in a way, like inspires maybe any of the work that you do. I don't know what your job is or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the programming techniques I've learned generally came from or like implementation designs and stuff. Pick those up from looking at how other games do it, or you know looking at what they're doing and thinking, oh, I wonder how they're doing that, coming up with it. So it's it's all it's all games. Everything's games for me. But yeah, and yeah, my job is I work at Exa Arcadia, so we do a lot of ports and upgrades and you know big intrusive arranges into games. So there's a lot of what I did before I started working there is pretty much what I still do now. But I get paid for it now, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, so you're I'm trying to think. I remember there's some talk about Batsugan getting an Etsa label and how it was inspired by Ibarra Black label or something. I guess did you work on that by any chance?
No, I didn't work on Batsugan X label, and it's funny that people think that about it because the guy who did that arrangement has never played Ibarra Black Label, and
Oh,
I don't
really?
think he's ever even watched a video of it. He just ended up with a kind of similar concept, anyways.
Oh, that's crazy. So you work at ETSA. Had, I think I had an idea somebody in the community did, but I didn't know it was you. What games have you worked
Yep,
on
yep.
there?
So I did Dodonpachi Sadayojo, Akai Katana, P47 Aces, Fixate. Uh, I want to say there's a couple other ones that I was the lead on, but I've had my hands in a couple other ones as well. Like I didn't do the Batsugun range or things like that, but I helped with the programming on that project a little bit.
Oh, that's sick. That's really sick. You know what? That's really interesting. Wow, I had no idea. I feel like um at least having some sort of platform like at least, have shmups as a bit thing, that's pretty cool. I have to admit that's pretty cool. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice that we can you know that it's financially viable for us to keep working on shooting games because it always seems a little a little dicey out there, especially with the console releases. They don't come out very much, and sometimes they're just like, just throw it out there. Don't put too much work into it. But I gotta respect those M2 guys for always putting in so much work and not being like, cheaping out on it or anything.
Oh yeah, no, it's insane what those people do. Like I genuinely believe that M2 is like one of the best developers out there. Like it's insane the stories I hear coming out of them, like spending like 20K or like the amount of a car to make a new fantasy zone or getting the old Alesta people back together. Like the stuff they're doing is just it's mind-blowing, man.
Yeah, it's super cool. They definitely have a lot of respect for the medium.
Have you met them by any chance? Have you met Hori? I think the CEO's name is Hori
Oh yeah,
something. Hmm?
yeah. Hori Naoki. Yeah, I actually went to dinner with him a couple weeks ago. But
Damn,
yeah,
that's sick.
we're in kind of the same spaces and stuff. We work on shooting games. They work on shooting games. Revival of old stuff. So we have a lot of crossover. So we talk a bunch. But yeah.
Damn, that's really sick. And what do you guys normally try like discuss? Is it really shooting game related or just like general stuff?
Well, it's usually business stuff that we're talking about because we want to do stuff with them. They want to do stuff with us, and you know, so we're always trying to work something out, and but yeah, sometimes we're talking about game design or you know what it means to be an LS game, for an example,
Mm.
is one that's something that we've discussed before. There's a bunch of stuff, but we've been talking on and off for a long time now, so it's just it all kind of melds together in my mind, so I can't think of too many specifics.
Yeah, no. That is actually really interesting question that you brought up. I know it's the Mars Matrix interview, but yeah, what is an Alesta game? That's such a cool conversation to have with somebody at M2.
Yeah,
That is really sick. And I have a lot of respect for you guys, just anybody who is making shmups, like when it comes to indie developers or M2. A lot of people who are still making shmups, who are still committing to the industry, even though in a lot of ways it's at least in North America or at least in the West, it's practically non-existent. So I have a lot of respect for people out there.
yeah. I mean, it's not actually as small as a lot of people like to think. It's just you know, not everybody who plays games talks about them online, so it can kind of seem like a small community, but there's a pretty decent number of people out there that just they just enjoy them completely under the radar, and so it's a little hard for some people to realize that it's not a completely dead genre. It's just it's not really getting served right, I'd say.
That is a good point you brought up, actually. Yeah, that's a pretty good point. A lot of people don't really go online, especially people who play shows. That is a very good point, actually, now that you bring it up. So, yeah, for sure. And I feel like something with shmups especially is that you have a lot of people who like shmup adjacent stuff and don't really play shmups. Like there's a lot of Toho fans, but they don't
Sure.
like not all of them play Toho.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so we should probably
But
just
also
start
like,
talking about what, sorry?
oh, yeah. Well, I was also gonna just add that, because shmups are basically single player games, you don't need to talk about them or like engage with other people about them to enjoy them. And so that also kind of, leads to the perception of it being a little dead. Whereas like fighting games, you have to talk to people about it because you gotta play against somebody.
Oh yeah, that is a good point that you bring up. Yeah, I never even I realized that of course, but yeah, now that you say it, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably start talking about Mars Matrix now. So, are you
Yes.
by any chance a
Yes.
Mars Matrix fan? Are you a fan of the game? Do you enjoy
Oh,
it?
absolutely. Yeah, Mars Matrix is great. It's so good. I really, really, really like it. Which is funny because I don't really like most other Takumi games. Like I don't like Giga Wing at all, but Mars Matrix is super duper good. Um, and part of why I made this hack in the first place is because I really liked playing it, and I wanted to like playing it a little more because I thought there was some annoying stuff in it. But I've gotten the 1cc, and I played quite a bit. So yeah, great game.
Oh, wow. So you actually answered my second question about why you chose Mars Matrix. But that's really cool to see that there's a Mars Matrix fan out there because I've been playing the game for a little bit. I do stuff on YouTube and all that stuff, but like I don't really see too many people in the shmup community talk about Mars Matrix, and it's a little bit sad because this game is like I'm genuinely I believe it's an S tier shmup. I think there is so much good things going on in this game. There's so much unique elements. There really isn't a game like it, you know?
Yeah, I strongly agree with that because yeah, when I started playing, I was like, I'd always I kind of always liked it or respected it and stuff, but I never really got serious about it until earlier this year. Um, but yeah, I don't know. People just don't talk about it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Because yeah, it's super unique. The systems are really well designed and really fun to engage with, and they're super unique. Like there's not, I mean, other than the other Takumi games that have kind of similar reflect stuff, there's not really anything else like it. So it's a really nice, unique thing to play.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. And I feel like especially when you put in all of the work that's done on the graphics, like for me and specifically, I love the early CG look. Something about the look that this game has, it really speaks to me.
Uh, I'm actually kind of uh, I'm not a big fan of the pre-rendered CG look, but I think Mars Matrix does a good job of making it look good despite me not liking how the assets look themselves. Because like everything's got so much animation and like spinning around and rotating and stuff that you couldn't really do if like well, they could have done it with pixel art, but it would have cost probably, 30 times the production budget. So,
Hmm.
I really understand why they did what they did. I wish they hadn't, but, you got to make the compromise sometimes. And I think they did the best they could with what they had. So, I still think it looks great. I just wish it wasn't CG, but, I'm fine with it. It doesn't drive me insane or anything.
Yeah, I totally
But for
respect
me,
that. I'm so
it's
sorry.
the music that really gets me going in this one. Like the music is so great.
Oh my God,
I love
yes.
that. Yeah, I love the like industrial, synth stuff, and it's so cool.
I know it's actually really sick, and I'm a huge fan of like techno and house music, so it hits
Right.
me in the soul like so well. And actually, I was in Cape Canaveral in Florida, at the NASA whatever the NASA station, and they had this
Oh,
big, massive like what is it? what is it called, a theater screen, and they had clips from Neil Armstrong and all those people, and they had this crazy
Oh,
CG
that's cool.
cutscene, and I'm like, oh god, it's Mars Matrix.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've never been over there. That sounds pretty sick though.
I recommend it. It's really cool. It's genuinely sick. I think another
Yeah.
thing about I think going back to what you said about the whole sprite thing, we did get a sprite based shooting game on the CPS2 by Rising Daimahu that's from what I hear that was completely sprite based, which I think is interesting when you
Yeah.
compare like the fluidity of the animations. It definitely does feel like it's not choppy in a bad way, but it definitely does feel like an anime. You know how a lot of like shots in
Right.
anime they're like cut down to make like an effort. Well, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's more fluid with less frames. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's quite a actually. I think the only no, I was forgetting Progear. Progear and Mars Matrix are the ones that are CG. But I mean, there's Gigawing. That's all pixel art. 19XX, 1944, another Rising game. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. But yeah, it's it's like that because they're hand illustrated, so every frame, you know, is it's certainly not free to make every individual frame like it is with CG. So you really gotta pick and choose which frames are actually important to have, and then you know time the animations so that it feels nice and smooth and good. Um, but you don't end up having full 60 FPS animations or anything, but they still look great despite that.
Oh yeah. And wait, is 1944? Is that all hand drawn or quote unquote? Is that all
Oh yeah,
2D? It is.
yeah, it sure is.
Oh my
I
God!
mean,
I thought when the
it's
planes come up on top of the screen when you're all powered up and you can shoot stuff below, I thought that was a
um
CG.
um
I, it
some
feels
of it
like it, but if that's hand
probably
drawn,
is. The thing is, like a lot of um pixel art, like the way they were doing it a lot at that time was to create CG models, render them into the pre-rendered stuff like Mars Matrix, but then draw on top of it to clean it up and make it look um, like it was drawn from scratch. But they don't have to do all the really insane work of mentally modeling how the thing is supposed to look. So you will end up with some effects sometimes in some games where they the whole game is pixel art, but then you've got this one CG effect or something because they just didn't have time or budget to redraw on top of it.
oh wow, okay. Well, I because I used to think that they would use a mix of CG and 2D, or some maybe like in Donkey Kong Country or like in Sonic 3D Blast, where they would use programs to like what is it, downscale or convert the CG models into sprites. But I didn't know they would just draw on
Right.
top of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was a really quite common workflow in the 90s, and um, I'm not sure if it's still a thing that people do a lot, but well, actually, I'm pretty sure it is. I think even like a lot of the actually, a great example is KOF 13. That is entirely done with this workflow as well,
Oh
where
yeah,
they
I
made all the
heard.
character models in 3D and then they rendered them out into still images and then they, you know, drew pixel art on top of them to, make them look a little better.
Oh, really? I heard about that actually. Yeah, because I remember hearing a story. They spent so much money on making 3D models, and then they had to spend more money on converting or redrawing that into 2D sprites, quote unquote, that they almost went bankrupt again. I heard about that.
Yeah, that was a little messed up because that was actually for KOF 12, and yeah, they ran out of money to finish it, so they released 12 with like barely any characters, just so that they could get some money back, so that they could finish it to actually release the final game 13. But
Oh,
uh, yeah, it's very. There's actually quite a well, I don't know how many articles there are, but there's at least one article series that's like really, really, really in depth on how they did that game, and it's really, really interesting to read. So
really?
I
Wow. Yeah, I
recommend
forgot 12
finding that if you
existed.
can. Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
had
most
no
people
idea
do because
about that.
12's kind of whatever.
I'm so sorry. Can you say that again?
Most people forget that 12 exists because it's basically just 13 but bad. So,
Yeah, I was actually playing at my local comic book store. They have those, quote unquote arcade cabinets, and they had KOF 12 on there for some reason. I'm like, okay, I'll give this a shot.
ooh, oh man.
I mean, it was fine. I think what's funny about
Sure, I mean, yeah.
those cabinets is that like DOJ runs on the PGM, and apparently the PGM is really good with lag input lag. So like it felt
Yep.
okay on that.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. Um, yeah, the PGM stuff is quite nice for input lag. Those are they're
Yeah,
very
I'd
good.
like to get a real PGM board, and then like with the carts and stuff. Like I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice hardware. Well, except for when the cart doesn't want to work.
Oh yeah.
The cart connectors on those are kind of wonky, so it can be kind of a pain, but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And speaking of input lag, that was actually really good. I was not actually intending to talk about input lag because my next question is about it. And I just realized right now,
Yep.
it's talking about, so why do you think Takumi couldn't lessen the input lag, but you were able to on the CPS2? What did you think they could have done better?
They could have not screwed up the program. It's just the most basic, like the absolute simplest mistake they could have done, and I don't know how they ended up making this mistake, why they ended up making this mistake, why nobody noticed it, and why nobody fixed it, because it was literally three functions being called in the wrong order. And if they just reordered them like I did, that fixes it entirely and has no negative repercussions.
Three functions in the wrong order. I don't want to like go like crazy in depth, but like could you remind me what a function is? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, sorry, programmer. So like basically, when you're writing a program, you have what are called functions, and they're just bits of code, but they're encapsulated in, a unit. So you can be like, you can call a function, and then all the code in that function executes, and then it comes back. Um,
Oh, okay. I
and
see that. Yeah, that made
so
sense. Okay.
yeah, so it's just a way of encapsulating bits of code into things that are more easily managed than make your entire program one continuous long string of text that's like unreadable and unusable. But basically, most games will have a function for update all the game objects, or read the inputs, or wait for the next frame. Um, and so they have three of those, and they call them in the complete wrong order. They call update objects, then read the inputs, then wait for the next frame. So, first off, your inputs aren't getting to the object update because it's right after the object update. And then you're reading the inputs on the frame before you get around to the next time. So you have just two entirely preventable frames of input lag added just because they misordered three functions.
Oh, I see. So okay, I see what you're saying now, where you have to where the code tells the board to run this first and that first and the other thing first. Okay, I see. So they just screwed up the order of what to call first, and that in
Right.
turn made more lag. Wow, that's you actually explained that very well. That makes complete sense now. So I'm guessing the input lag is 3 frames or is it two? I'm not sure. Now that with your hack,
With the hack, it is now 2 frames.
two
It
frames.
used to
I
be
see.
4 on the hardware. before, which is four is like where I would say a game starts to feel bad. Three is fine. I can deal with three. Two is a sweet spot. Two's really nice. Um, but like for me, like two and one don't really feel that different. Um, Three is I can feel a different. Like if I play a two-frame game and then I go play a three-frame game, I can feel it. Um, but like I can't really be like sit down at a three-frame game cold and be like, this is for 3 frames. I don't have that level of skill with it. Um, but if I sit down and play a 4-frame game, I know it's a 4-frame game. It's it's very obvious to me.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely with agreement on you there. I definitely feel like four is the topper. I will say it is a little embarrassing with arcade hardware that you're able to get 4 frames is the best. Like that's I find it a little embarrassing because usually arcade hardware is supposed to be very fast.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, any arcade game that's 4 or higher is yeah, it's frankly embarrassing to me. And I mean, it Mars Matrix sure ain't the only one that has weird issues like this. I did a hack for Guardian Force on STV uh, a while ago, and that one has basically the same problem that adds 2 frames of input lag to it, and that is a 6 frame game normally. So it's really bad. And then I just made it tolerable. Uh, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's embarrassing if your arcade game is 4 frames or higher. It just I don't know how you can really make that happen without an obvious mistake.
Oh, ouch. Oh my God, 6 frame. That's a shame too, because I really want to get Guardian Force on the Saturn or STV. I bet the Saturn is the same deal there as well.
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty sure I played it recently, and it actually seems fine on Saturn.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just the STV version, which makes sense because the issues I found were in the the STV specific code, so the code that's only on the STV version. And so I assumed that the Saturn version was probably fine, but I didn't check it until quite recently. But it seems fine. That's another great game that's super unique and super good though. So I would recommend giving that one a shot if you can.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see where you're coming from on that because especially when you have 6 frames, like, oh my God. That's like, could you imagine playing that in the
Yeah,
arcade? Even with CRTs, like, oh my God, that'd be horrible.
yeah, it is horrible. That's why I had to fix it because I
Yeah, no,
like
well,
playing.
thanks so much. That's insane because I was genuinely going to pick up like a cart or something maybe, but yeah, no, standard version definitely have to get that.
Yeah, yeah, because I like playing my games on hardware on my arcade cab. So, uh, you sit down and you're really not expecting to have a 6 frame experience when you pop a game in your cab. But when it happens, I have to fix it because I can't stand it.
Yeah. And I guess that's where you really, and that's why you hack a lot of these games because you just find a lot of issues with them. I assume.
That tends to be it, yeah. For yeah, for most of the stuff, that's basically it. Is uh, I get really into a game and I want to play it a lot, but I find some stuff that really frustrates me, and I feel like I should just fix it because I can. And there's no reason for me not to, so I just do it. And usually it's not a huge amount of work, and so it doesn't it's not like taking a shoot. I forget that expression. Long walk for a ham sandwich. I'm not taking a
Hmm.
long walk for a ham sandwich, but
Yeah.
uh, I'm walking down to the corner store.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How much time does it take for you normally to do a hack?
It depends on what it is, but like the Mars Matrix one, I removed those 2 frames of input lag in like 2 hours. It was that obvious of a mistake and so easy to fix that it really took almost no time at all. But then all the other features that I added, those took a bit longer. So that whole thing maybe 20 hours of work or so. So not that long, but it's not nothing.
Okay, well that's not too bad. I guess I don't know if that's really good or not, but that doesn't sound too bad.
No, it's totally reasonable. I mean the longer stuff is like those the arrange hacks that I used to do, or I mean the ones that I do now for work. Those take a long time because you have to do a lot of uh, a lot of research and a lot of pulling apart the game and stuff. But for these ones where it's just remove some input lag, uh, fix a weird bug that annoys me, add rapid fire stuff, whatever. Those don't take very long. So if I feel compelled to do them, I'll just do them because I know it's not going to take me that long.
I see, I see. Okay, so that's really interesting then, because it seems like you know how to code. You've been programming for a while now.
Yeah, yeah, like 20 years or so. It's been a long time.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So how
But
exactly were you able to split out the three weapons in this hack? Because when I was playing Marsman, I've been playing for I mean technically I started like a couple years ago, but I haven't really gotten serious up until like maybe a year ago. But back in the day, I say it's like a little bit before COVID. Back in the day,
sure.
you have to make your own auto shot, and then auto shrapnel was possible, but it didn't really work all that well. I don't remember why it didn't work all that well, because nowadays, before this hack, like a week ago or something, before I learned about this, I would have just done auto fire, and then I would just have another button for my shrapnel and my, vacuum, and that would have been it. So how were you able to get the auto shrapnel and the buttons to feel like the Dreamcast version? Because I have the Dreamcast version, and I used that auto shrapnel first time playing your hack, and I was blown away at how like accurate it seemed to the Dreamcast version.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something that I wasn't even sure that I was gonna add to this because like I like the one button concept, but the thing is it's just so because the cannon is so useful all the time, like having to get good at the timing on it and execute it constantly, especially in the second the last 2 stages where everything gets really crazy. It's just too much mental stress for me. So I was just like, whatever, I'll just add it. It's not that hard, really. So I mean, I have to assume that I basically did what the Dreamcast version is doing, but essentially, all it does is um, so I have like a internal priority thing. So the 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 normal button one, so the one that you can use to do the charge and the rapid and the cannon all at once, that has the highest priority. So if you press down on that button, it always counts. And then the rapid cannon has the next highest priority, and then the full auto, the rapid shot. Um, and I thought this made sense because you go from the fastest auto rate to the slower one to the no auto. And I have to assume the Dreamcast version does the same thing because I think it's a logical way to do it. Um, but internally, all it's doing is it's just setting a counter for how long to delay the A button presses that get sent to the game. So if you're doing the auto cannon, it presses the A button and then it waits exactly 25 frames and then it presses it again. And if you let off on buttons, then it clears the timer out. Or no,
I
no, it
see.
doesn't clear the timer out. And that is so if you hold the auto cannon let go from it and then push it again, it won't fire again and like mess you up. It'll just it'll wait until uh, it the timer's good in order to use the cannon again.
I see. Okay, so that actually makes a lot of sense now. And yeah, I could see why Takumi would have done that for the Dreamcast version as well. That's actually really interesting. I had no idea about how the way that you did it. That's really nice. I just want to say thanks so much because I've been able to finally get my first extend, the 100,000,
Oh
100K
yeah.
point barrier. I was able to get that in the first level because of the auto cannon, just like I was able to do back in the Dreamcast version. And I was like, man, this is great. I can
Ah,
finally get my first extend in the first stage again. This is awesome.
yeah, yeah. Getting extended out of stage one always feels so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, the auto cannon. I didn't think it would be such a game changer, but it really is. So I'm quite glad that I ended up just doing it.
Oh yeah, it's a massive game changer. I'm really glad that you put it in too, because it's been incredibly helpful. And now I feel like there's a more competent way to play this game. It feels like in a lot of ways this is the ultimate way to play this game. I don't outside maybe the Dreamcast version, but the Dreamcast version doesn't have the increased input lag or the increased decreased input lag, I should say.
Right. So I haven't played the Dreamcast version of Mars Matrix in over 10 years, so I can't remember how that felt. But um, they might have fixed the input lag on that version. I don't know, because it's a completely different um, the CPU in the Dreamcast is completely different from the CPS2s. So they had to rewrite the whole game or something in order to port it. So they might have fixed it when they did that. But I don't know because I don't own a Dreamcast anymore, so I can't check.
Oh, I see. I think I should mention when I play on a like good monitor, the Dreamcast version, it feels good. It feels tight and responsive. I can definitely one try to clear it. But your hack just is a whole
Okay.
nother level. It's insane.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. No, no, really. I mean, this hack is something that was really needed for this game, if you ask me.
I definitely agree. um,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's such a good game, but trying to play the original arcade version, it's pretty. Especially after I've done this, like, and I go play the original one again, just like at an arcade or whatever. It's like, holy, is so bad.
Yeah,
And
no.
I mean, also the uh, the change I made to make the sound effects a lot quieter, I think is pretty a pretty good addition as well because the music's so good, but the sound effects are so loud normally that it's really hard to just like you know jam out to the music while I'm playing the game. Instead, it's just bam, 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 bam from the
Yeah, yeah.
cannon.
Really? So you changed the sound effect? I hadn't heard about this. I don't know if it was mentioned or not. I haven't read your change log or the thing that you sent out, but really, the sound effects were changed. Oh my God, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, so that is one of the other changes. Yeah, so the sound effects are, I think I set them to 75% volume. But if you hold A when you hit start, it'll use the original volume. So if you liked the sound effects being too loud, you can still do that.
Wow, that's very nice actually. Yeah, I was gonna say it would have been cool if you had like the way to switch out, but you already thought of that, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I try to not have changes to stuff like that where you can't ignore it. Like in theory, everything but the input lag here you could completely ignore. You don't have to use the new buttons, and the single button mode still works just fine. Uh, you can switch the sound effects volume back, and yeah. So I mean, other than the input lag, nothing in this patch is actually required for you to use it. So I prefer things that way, so I always strive for it when I do stuff like this.
That's sick. That's really sick. Oh my God, I had no idea at all. Would you happen to know, and this is a little bit unrelated, would you happen to know if there is a competitive community around Mars Matrix in Japan? Is it still played in the arcades, or is it just not possible because of the external stuff?
Um, I don't think people really play it that much anymore. One of the counter stop is a big thing, but even though the counter stop exists, there's still a way to, you can use the experience to kind of track beyond it.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, you don't really want to like try to calculate your real score. You could if you were crazy, but yeah, once people started hitting the counter stop, all the score tables just switched to tracking experience values instead.
I see.
So I mean, in theory, someone could go set a new Mars Matrix world record if they were really, really good, because the score is really, really good.
Mm.
But I don't think people really play it that much these days. So at least in Japan, mm, I think Taito Hei might have it, but that's probably the only place in Tokyo, I'd guess.
Really? Wow. Oh, I had no idea. I want to go check out Title Hey one day because I'm a pretty big Title fan. And I hear it's a good spot. I hear it's a pretty good spot.
It's really, really good. It's probably the best game center in Tokyo, at least if you're a big shooting game person. If you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
play
yeah,
fighting
because
games and stuff, there's better places, but for shooting games, Taito Hei is like it's the king.
yeah. Just give me a sec. The AC is really freaking loud. I'm gonna go upstairs and just so I can hear your voice a little better because I had to, even the mic out and stuff. But yeah, I think one thing that I think is cool about Taito Hey in general is the fact that there are shooting games that like Taito is mostly known for STGs, and they have their own arcade center, which is really cool because like that's not a thing anywhere else, really.
Yeah. Um, I mean, Taito runs a lot of arcades, but they're called Taito Station usually, but they're more they're more focused on like the newer games, the claw machines, the online games, the card games, whatever. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Taito Hei is pretty much all like the 80s and 90s and 2000s shooting games, and then of course they've got some crane machines and stuff, but it's very obviously focused on you know real games.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know what you mean, yeah. And speaking about the counter stop, this hat does not fit the counter stop, right?
That is correct. It seemed like it would be very hard to do. So, and also like I'm never gonna get the counter stop, so it doesn't actually matter that much to me. Uh, I was thinking about doing it, but I just didn't end up doing it.
I see, I see. So, yeah, because I'm kind of in the same boat where I feel like a lot of people aren't really gonna be able to do the counter stuff, but I did want to ask if you think it would be possible through hacking. It seems like it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd totally be possible. I mean, if you want to get really technical, anything is possible. I could turn Mars Matrix into Espeluna if you wanted, but like, you know, it's just how much effort you want to put in uh, to it. So I mean, the thing is, I think getting rid of the counter stop probably wouldn't be that hard, but yeah, like it's not gonna affect me, so uh, I'm not that worried about doing it. Um, Although I'm sure some people would, they've got like kind of the mental block on it where they're like, ah, that game has a counter stop. Why should I play it when I could get a counter stop and then there's no point in playing. But like all those whiners, they'll never get the counter stop anyways, so whatever.
that's a good point because I do have that attitude sometimes, and you just have to remind yourself, yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna get it anytime soon.
Right.
And I think, especially when you consider the fact that the game is not really being played competitively, I feel like if it was a game that was still really competitive, then I think there would be a demand, right, for sure. But like as it stands, unfortunately, not a lot of people are playing that. But it is interesting to hear that it technically is possible. Like there wouldn't be any memory limitations because I hear that a CPS is not like crazy on memory.
I mean, it's got kind of the normal amount of memory for an arcade game or for an arcade board at that time. So I mean, yeah, that much is fine. I mean, I actually had to had to scrounge up some extra memory just to handle the timer for the rapid fires. Uh, but like, it's really easy to grab just the little small amount of RAM that you need for that. Um, the to me the the harder part of it is where do you display it, the extra digit? Because like I guess you could make it overwrite the E in the score text or whatever, but that's a little ugly. Um, and I think the score table wouldn't show it either properly. So there's a lot of considerations you have to have around these sorts of things because like it's easy to just be like, well, just add another digit, but adding another digit has so many knock-on effects that are not add another digit to the score tracking because that's the easy part. It's all the other stuff that gets hairy and weird. Um, but then, of course, you could also do the early '80s game approach and just don't have a counter stop, just make it roll, and then that'd be easy. That'd be super easy because you wouldn't have to change anything. But uh, people don't like score rolling over either, so you got to pick a counter stop or rollover, and I get why everybody went to counter stop instead of rolling over.
So do you remind me what rolling over is?
Oh, just like instead of reaching the max value, just wrap it back around to zero. So like, say your counter stop was at 1,000. So like, if you had hit 1,000, then it sets it to 999 or whatever. If you made it roll over instead, then you'd hit 1,000 points, but then you would just have 0 points instead.
Oh, I see. So why did people stop adopting this method?
Uh, Probably because it looks weird, I guess. Because I mean, it's got some other weird things too, like, oh, suddenly my super duper high score is a super duper low score, and that kind of sucks in a couple ways. But um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, I would say it's a personal preference thing, which one you think is better, but um, most people seem to go with counter stop just because it's not it's not weird looking. Although you really maybe you should just have it roll over all the time anyways, because if people are hitting your counter stop, then there's obviously something wrong, and they'd probably like to be able to see their score. So I don't know. It's just something that people decided on.
Yeah, that was my attitude thinking about it as well. That's very interesting, actually. And I did want to ask you, if you were to go and take care of the counter stuff, it would take a lot more time than it would like it would take more than 20 hours, right? So how long do you think it would take for you to fix that? Maybe a couple months or something?
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, the easiest part of it, adding the extra score digit to the score tracking. Um, I'm pretty sure they just have one function for changing the score, so you just have to put it in there. Um, that wouldn't take very long at all. And I mean, all the display stuff is where it gets uh, freaky. And I mean, if you don't need it to be in your score table, then things get really easy because then it's just the in-game display, and that's nice. Oh no, there's the stage end score tick up too. Uh, I don't know, man. The more I think about it, the more I'm glad I didn't try to do this because it sounds really annoying. But
Yeah.
in total, I think fixing the counter stop would maybe take um, nah, probably 20 hours alone on its like just as one thing to change. Um, I
Wow.
think
It
that's
doesn't
probably
sound
a good
like the
estimate.
worst, but I can definitely see why. Yeah, I can definitely see why they would like, like up your alley for 100%.
Yeah, yeah, like it's not that unreasonable or hard or anything. It's just that is a lot of time for something that is not ever going to affect me. So no reason to bother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say that's a pretty good point. And I think what was interesting when you were talking about how you had to add extra memory to get the shrapnel timings to work, it makes me wonder. So this game is playable on a CPS too. How exactly is that possible to add extra memory? Is it not? Is there enough? Was there space that you could just add it in?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. There's so in well, programming in general, there's this thing called a stack, and this is basically where you store a bunch of uh, data that you're working on, essentially. And it also, going back to what I was saying about functions, this is how the CPU knows how to get back to where you called the function from. And so this area of memory is kind of not a fixed size because your game might use a lot of stack or it might use very little stack, and it totally depends. Um, but usually, uh, you try to make the size of your stack uh, big so that you don't run out. Because if you run out, then everything goes to, it all blows up. Uh, but what you can do to get some free memory back is just use some of that stack because pretty certain they're not using all of it. Because if they were using all of it, then they have a good chance of using too much and breaking everything. So they've almost certainly got, a couple bytes here, a couple bytes there that you can just steal. And uh, if you're familiar with the CPS2 Phoenix sets, they all do this because um, there's a part of memory that uh, is um, it gets set to also be hardware registers when you're using the Phoenix stuff. Hardware registers basically it's just bits of hardware you can touch, but they're in memory. Um, but yeah, so those registers get put over where the stack is. So the Phoenix sets all move the stack a little bit so that they can uh, not have issues with that. And so I'm basically just doing that same change, except I use those bytes to store my data instead of being hardware.
Yeah, I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. So I was right on the money with that. That's nice. That's really
Yep,
nice.
yep. Yep, you were exactly right.
So as of this recording, it seems like you have to patch or edit the ROM in order to play it. Is there any chance that you're going to release the full ROM? I think you were. I could be wrong about that.
No, because it's. Oh wait, did I actually? Yeah, I think I released the patch files. Yeah. Um, it's well, it's not legal to distribute the ROMs, so that's why I don't. And
Yeah, I was gonna say.
if I was in the U.S. where nobody cares anymore, maybe I would, but in Japan they still care quite a bit about this sort of thing, so I don't want to take the risk. So,
They
and
do.
I mean, applying the patches yourself is pretty easy. So, yeah.
And it's done through a online patch service, kind of like you would like to patch a Genesis game or something.
Um, you could. I think does bromhacking.net have it? I think they only have IPS though, don't they? Does it take X Delta?
I see.
It does take X Delta. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you could do it online with the romhacking.net online patcher. There's a couple other online patches you could use to do it. I think I actually include um, the no, actually I don't. Do I? The patcher program, because there, you know, you could run the patcher on your computer itself and do it that way. But it probably is easiest to just use the online patcher on romhacking.net.
I see.
But
I see. I
yeah,
see.
you could use anything. So
Okay, I see. So I was writing money about that as well. So yeah, so what is the situation
yeah.
about like ROMs and stuff in general? Is the FBI gonna come and knock down your door or whatever their thing is called? Or just worried you get fined through mail or something?
Um, you know, for this sort of thing, I don't think anyone's actually gonna do anything. But you know, it's not unheard of for you know to get well. I think the government doesn't do anything about it. It's just um, it's a civil thing. So like the owner of the Mars Matrix IP could sue me for distributing their copyrighted material, that sort of thing.
Okay, I see. I see. Okay, I see that.
Yeah, I don't think the government's gonna come kick down my door, but someone might leave a letter in my mailbox saying you owe us $1 million, or and also come to court.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. And I also hear that you need a specific version of MAME, I believe. You can't play this on standard, on current MAME. I tried playing on current MAME and FB Neo, and I didn't have much luck. I had to do my own sort of thing. So do you think there's a future? Well, this will be playable on the current version, stable version of MAME or FB Neo, like on RetroArch?
Um, let me double check a thing real quick. I think they probably.
I haven't updated my.
Let's see. Um, so it's I pretty sure it's already available in hbmame, which is a meme that's kind of dedicated to like hacks and homebrews and stuff. Um, but you can run it in. Oh, actually, shoot, you can't really run it in MAME very well because it only has one button map. um, but maybe that change in HB MAME will get made into you know, mainline MAME at some point. But for now, that's not the case. But you know, I could see them doing it. A couple of my other hacks are in regular MAME already, so it's totally possible.
I see. Yeah, because I was gonna say, the input lag is great, but run ahead just, oh my god, it feels so good. And so I definitely that would be great, if somebody was able to do that for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I am.
wait one sec.
I don't know.
And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. So what steps? I mean, yeah. So what steps do you have to take to actually get this running on the CPS2? And is it as good as? And does it run as well as it does on like the version of MAME you need to run this game? Or do you think it works better, actual hardware than emulation?
I mean, so firstly, emulation for CPS2 is a little funky, and it doesn't quite run at the correct speed. Um, but that's mostly for like slowdown stuff. Like if it's not slowing down, then it's fine. But the slowdown's a little wrong in emulation. Um, but um, getting it running on hardware is not too hard, um, because the only changes are program ROMs, and those are not that hard to change out. So you can just burn the ROMs and put it in your cart. One of the things that I put a decent amount of work into was making sure that um, the versions I made ran with the original encrypted ROM data and not the Phoenix decryption stuff. Um, because one, the Phoenix decryption stuff is not great. There's issues with quite a few of them, so I don't trust them. And two, uh, being encrypted means that you can take an off-the-shelf Mars Matrix board and put these on there without doing any other changes to the cart. So it's very easy, relatively. I mean, you still have to have an EEPROM burner and stuff, but it's pretty low barrier to entry. And then I think there are certain multi-game setups that make it pretty easy to put on ROMs, and those should work with this pretty easily as well. But I don't have a lot of experience with those, so uh, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, my preferred way to play basically everything is on hardware because you never really know if the emulation's perfect or whatever. And the only way you really know is by playing it how it was originally made. So that's always what I try to do. But if it, I understand it's a bit of a luxury for a lot of people. So, if it works in emulation for you, go right ahead, and I think that's fine too.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm really surprised to hear that slowdown isn't all that accurate because I thought for the longest time that it was almost not obviously emulation will never get one to one with the hardware, but I thought CPS2 emulation was almost one to one. I'm really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, the thing is, the CPS2's the way the sprite chip works is um, it's quite complicated to emulate it in a way where it can uh, work for how to say it. Um, it's hard to model how the sprite chip affects the performance, and MAME's architecture is not really set up in a way that makes it easy to do that. So they just kind of hack around it, and they uh, like I'm sure you're familiar with adjusting the CPU sliders for CB1000 stuff in MAME. And it's basically what they did is they adjusted the CPU timer, the CPU slider a little bit for you, so you don't have to go in there and do it. But uh, as a result, the the speed of the CPU isn't quite accurate. And I think you can. I think this is a little bit noticeable in Gigawing's intro because there's there's scenes that are synced up to the music, and they go a little bit out of sync in emulation.
I see, I see. So that's why a lot of fighting games, a lot of fighting tournaments. Now, obviously, there are legal reasons, but a lot of like the locals, there are a lot of like smaller divisions and like fighting game stuff for CPS2, like Darkstalkers or whatever. They don't use emulation because of this. I would assume because I thought I'm like my thinking was okay, well if the emulation is really good, why don't we just emulate stuff? Why do we need real boards? But now I see why. Now I see why fighting tournaments don't use that. Of course, among other stuff, like of course having a board is better than
Right.
emulation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For it affects like all the CPS2 games and like um, so like I'm a big you know Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo player.
Yeah.
And that one's like it's way off in MAME just because the way that they did the turbo in it is kind of insane. But as a result, basically every stage, even on hardware, basically every stage runs slightly different speeds. And in MAME, it's just completely different.
I see, and as a result, 5K too.
Yes. Although that is Final Burn, I believe. But I think that has the same problem with the CPU speed. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I see. I want to get your thoughts. Have you heard of the what is called the Capcom Partnership Project, where Capcom was getting all these developers to come and work for them, kind of before they went out of commission? Well, what do you think about what was going on there in general?
Um, my thought is they had a ton of old stock CPS2 boards and they wanted to come up with a way to get rid of them. Because a thing about manufacturing is uh, unused stock is basically wasted money. And so if you can do absolutely anything to get them out of your inventory, you're basically making money. So I think that's probably all they were doing is just we have all these boards, we have to get rid of them. What can we do? We don't want to dedicate internal resources to it because they're working on, the CPS3 stuff or whatever else. Um, but if we just pay these other companies, pennies on the dollar to make a game for us, then that's a great way for them to get a little something and us to get rid of all our stock. So I think it was, it's a very business savvy move, but also, we got quite a few great games out of it. So I think it was a really big win-win for everybody.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. The stuff that came out, and then you also had Naomi's stuff later on too, which I guess is a part of the project as well, kinda. I don't know. I would consider it, but yeah, those games too are just fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of what let Takumi kind of really exist, right? Because otherwise they had a Kyukyoku Tiger 2, that stinker, and uh, I think they did one or two Saturn ports or something of other games, and then yeah, and then they just did those CPS2 shooting games, and then they built off Gigawing because that sold really well for them. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
see.
it's
I
a
see.
great project for everybody.
Yeah. Are you done? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. I did want to. Would you happen to know who owns the Takumi? I say Takumi. I don't know if that's right. The Takumi IP right now.
Um, I believe um, I don't know what has happened to Takumi itself, other than they're closed, but I don't know where the rights for that went. But the thing is, I think all of the games that are part of that Capcom partnership project, I think Capcom actually owns all of them. So Capcom is the one who has the the say on what can happen with Mars Matrix now.
I see. And why do you think Mars Matrix hasn't been ported to like the arcade stadiums? There's a good chance for that in Daimahu when Arcade Stadium 2 was coming out, and both of those games didn't get in. Do you have your own thoughts or like why? Like do you have your own headcanons on why that would be?
Uh, Not really. My only thought is they just thought, uh, this probably isn't worth our time getting in here, because I don't know, people. I mean, I guess I'm a little surprised Daimaho isn't, because people do like that game, despite it being insane. Um, but yeah, I'm not really sure why. Because they do own it, so there's no real reason they can't do it. But I guess they just didn't want to or something. Although Daimaho might also be owned by Aiding still, so or at least co-owned. So that one might be a little trickier, but they should be able to do anything with Mars Matrix. So I don't know why they haven't.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. And what's funny about Daimafu in particular is that that game is still, from what I hear, it's still played really competitively in Japan because the counters, because the way the scoring works, it's a lot easier to calculate your score after.
Yeah, yeah. People still play Daimaho a lot, um, which is insane to me because that game is crazy. But yeah, because the scoring in that game is fairly simple, you can just calculate your score manually for everything after the counter stop. So people just keep playing it anyways. And then also, not every character has been counter stopped yet, so there's people still really gunning to try to get it because it's a nice hard target. It's like just get the 100 mil. It's like that's a that's a real solid target and all that. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That is a good point you brought up because I remember hearing about that, that people are still trying to counter stop with all the characters.
yeah. I think there's only two characters left that haven't been counter stopped. I think one of them got done like last year, even like it was very recent.
Yeah, I heard it was. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. I cannot remember his name. So I guess for our final question here, I want to ask you, do you have any future games you plan on hacking in the future?
Um, Nothing immediately in mind. I don't know. Next time I get a game that frustrates me, it'll probably be that one. But I don't have anything particularly in mind.
That is pretty funny now that now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's a little silly of a way to come up with projects, but it works.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sure, definitely. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this. I had a lot of fun doing this, honestly. This has been sick, you know?
Yeah, no problem. It's nice to explain and talk about this wonderful game that nobody talks about. It's so incredible, and so I hope this gets some more people to check it out and play it some more because it's so good.
I know, right? Exactly. This game is really good, and I feel like it needs more attention, just like in the shmup community as a whole, because I genuinely believe like it's an S tier game. So much cool stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate you coming on, and you have a good rest of your night over in Tokyo. Really appreciate you coming on the channel and the show, and have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you have a good afternoon, day, whatever time it is over there.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.